Hello, all my fellow riders out there. Straight out of your local sports book, this is the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway here. And even with a broken leg, it doesn't stop me from gambling on myself. I'll be back one day, and that's right. I'm here right now with the Dirty Bird, right here on the Sit Down Marks podcast.
Hey, yo.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Oh, yeah. Acknowledge me. What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Come on in, sit down. Episode number 128 of the Sit Down Marks podcast. It's your boy, Dirty Bird, all by myself today. But, I'm here to handle some business, man, because a while back we had our good friend Sean Galway on the podcast, and I told you we were going to have an update with him coming up ever so often. So we're getting back to that today. But I want to say for anybody that's tuning in from the last time that we had Sean on here, I want to apologize for my audio. It was going crazy. So hopefully this time, I sound much better and things are much better. So if you are tuning in again, thank you so much. So, all right, so let's talk about it, man. Today, episode number 128, we got update number 2 with Sean Galway, the Irish Stallion. In a quick little nutshell, guys, if you are listening maybe for the first time, back in February 24th of this year, roughly just about a little over 3 months ago, Sean was wrestling in a wrestling match with Iron Spirit Pro down in Normal, Illinois, and broke his femur bone in his right leg in a freak accident in a wrestling match. And we're not going to go over everything that went over that night. If you want to go back and check that out on the first episode, go check that out. But for this episode, we're going to see where Sean is, how the recovery's going, how everything's going post surgery and that kind of stuff. It's been a little while since we talked to Sean. We're looking at, like I said, just a little over 3 months from when the actual injury happened. So please welcome everybody from your local sports book.
One and
all. Get it in a little bit, man. What's going on, Sean? Welcome back, brother.
What's up, Dirty Bird? What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's great to be on the show again. Thanks so much for having me, Eric. I've been doing really well since February when the accident happened. I had surgery the next day after the accident. So I'm about a little over 3 months now post-op. And a lot's happened since then. I think when I first talked to you, Eric, I was only 2 weeks or so removed from being in the hospital. So
yeah, we were 19 days since the injury.
19 days.
So yeah. So
right.
The surgery was a little bit more later past that, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, life it's weird. Recovery has been something that I've been thinking a lot more about every single day. Life in general has gotten back to normal for me for the most part. So I was living at home when I last talked to you and everybody on the podcast here. I was living at home with my mother, and she was taking care of me for the first 2 months of my recovery. At first, especially for those first 3 weeks, I would say I really needed assistance, getting into the bathroom, literally help sitting down on the toilet, sitting in the shower, helping. She made literally every meal for me for 2 months.
God bless mamas, man. God bless them.
So she did all of that for me, did all my laundry for 2 months, insane. Just picked up where I was back in high school. But yeah, I mean, over time, over the course of those 2 months, slowly I was, kind of getting back into form. And then shortly after the podcast, the first time I got into physical therapy with a great institution, great clinic. In Oakland, Illinois, called Athletics, run by Tom Mulvey. He was an excellent PT for me. Really worked
specializes in sports injuries, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, specializes in sports injuries and stuff like that. But also has a lot of other different patients. His entire office is filled with like sports memorabilia, like everything White Sox. Like he's the biggest White Sox thing I think I've ever White Sox fan I've ever met.
You're in heaven, man. You felt comfortable with this guy, right? He's gonna take care of you.
Yeah, we were both commiserating over the Sox for the first couple weeks of the season there when they were really putrid. Went 3-22 to start the year.
Sure, yeah, it's a rough start. So you guys could bond over that.
Absolutely. But he would work with me, and when I first got to his clinic and stuff, he would just keep reiterating to me that like, hey, you had a major injury here. You have to take things slow. Like, you can't force anything. Like he had me doing the most simple remedial stuff for like the first couple of weeks, really. Sure. Literally just laying on a bed and doing like leg bends for like 30 minutes, just trying to get like, and of course my leg wouldn't even bend to 90 degrees. Like it would bend like, 60, 70 degrees at the most.
Okay. Yeah.
Just trying to, bring my heel to my butt basically as much as I could. And like slowly over time, it was getting a little bit stronger and stronger, and I could like, bend it a little bit more and stuff like that. And then flipping over on my back and then just doing like leg lifts for another like 20 minutes or whatever, just like trying to squeeze my quad muscle and trying to get my knee strong again.
Right. Was that uncomfortable?
It kind of was, to be honest.
Okay.
I had to be kind of careful and stuff like that because I mean,
sure.
like it would be, to hold that squeeze and then to lift it all the way up and hold that squeeze all the way down to. It took some practice, to be honest, in the beginning.
Yeah. It's like a boring basic exercise, but it does so much, right? Like,
yeah, there was more. It's easy to get passive when you're just lying there, and he's got other patients in the office too, so he's like walking around to other people, but you got to be focused on what you're doing too. So I mean, like I'd be listening to a podcast or whatever, I'd be listening to other things on it, watching March Madness or whatever that was going on at the time.
Yeah.
Trying to do something to keep myself busy, but like all the while too, it's like you got to pay some mental focus to it too, just to make sure you're maintaining that technique of squeezing and lifting, because all that stuff really matters and it helps a lot. And it ended up, he was absolutely right. It helped me a lot. So over the course of the next couple of weeks, he would, have me slowly kind of moving towards like doing like no weight on the bike and no weight on like the hack squat, just trying to get the motion of like my leg to bend. So all of like his stuff was revolving around just getting my knee to bend in full flexion properly. And for the most part, he pretty much got it all. I mean, I will say as of today, like I don't have 100% flexion in my right leg just yet. I have like 95%, I would say, to be honest. I mean, enough to like get around and do everything during the day. But there's that last little like couple 2-3 inches that I can't quite squeeze in. So if I was to like squat down like a catcher, I can't sit on my hind legs just yet on the right side, but I'm like,
don't touch.
I'm like
You're
that
close.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not wearing any, just for knowledge sake, you're not wearing anything on your leg anymore.
No. I mean, well, I never had any, the only thing I ever wore was the splint in the hospital. So
right.
To be honest, I kind of did think to myself the other day, like if a leg brace, like a knee brace of some kind would be helpful for me.
I kind of thought maybe something on your leg that would like have a plate like over your scar or something, maybe to
no,
but to
like
protect it, not like that. Okay, yeah.
No, they never gave me anything cool like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, but
all right.
But maybe I just want to be like Steve Austin. I don't know. I just want to wear like a leg brace. But
yeah. He made him cool, didn't he?
Yeah, goddamn. I just watched a YouTube video about that the other day. He's like, he literally said like, yeah, I just like to wear them because they're cool. But his knees were kind of screwed up too. But they did add to like the tough guy aura of Austin. But
yeah.
But getting back to the leg in general, is just it's been a slow. Every day, it's not like in the first like month or so, I saw progress every week, like visible progress where like the swelling would go down. It's like, oh, the pain is starting to go away, the bruising starting to disappear, and then like April,
small victories, yeah,
small victories. And I was very positive that first month, and then like April hit, and it was kind of like my leg had finally gotten back down to like all the swelling was gone, but there was still swelling around my knee, so I couldn't really bend it. But then my actual quadricep muscle had really atrophied quite a bit. So, and you could see it, like my left side is way bigger than my right side.
Right.
So, trying to kind of like maneuver around that, and it was frustrating for that month of April to kind of like try to figure out how to like build muscle back up. It's not like just like trying to build, regular muscle in the gym when your body's normal and stuff like that. This muscle is literally almost like starting from scratch almost.
Yeah.
And trying to like, get the mechanics guy. Cause like there's so many other things going on at the knee and the hip too.
Sure.
Cause my break, even though it was like, a spiral fracture, like towards like the upper middle third of my leg, they put the rod through my whole femur and they put screws at both ends of it. So like, there's like, a little
still
bit
some settling going on in there, probably, right?
Yeah, there's still settling going on at like the hip level and the knee level. So
yeah.
And there's always the possibility too that those screws could come loose, or something happens where it doesn't settle properly again, or something agitates it.
Yeah,
there's possibility.
We don't want that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, hopefully, those chances are low because
Sure.
I'm taking a lot of precautions and stuff like that. But those are things I have to kind of keep in mind too. That like my knee isn't going to be the same as it was before the injury. It's going to probably take me longer to get it back to like 100% than I originally thought it would. And it's just now throughout the month of May was like when I got cleared to go to the gym again. So like at the end of April, my like doctor's note had kind of run out from the hospital. They said like, I was working from home basically on my laptop for 2 months, and my work from home note kind of ended at the end of April. Plus I was kind of at the point where I didn't really need to be living with my mom anymore to kind of like, I didn't really need her assistance really. The last couple of weeks I really was doing everything by myself again. Like I was doing my own laundry and cooking again and showering and everything.
Right.
Weeks at that time. So at the end of April, I went back to my own apartment here, and that's where I am. So I'm back in my home. So and it was weird, like moving back in by myself again. It was almost like how I moved out the first time years ago. It was like one of those weird things. I almost like reset the timeline.
Sure, yeah. Just this time you have an injury and you're coming back. Right, yeah. Well, yeah. Dang, man. All right, so it's kind of perfect, man. Like, talk to me now that you're back home. Talk to me, like, what sucks? Like, what's uncomfortable? Like, showers. Tell me, like, what sucks that you think wouldn't suck with this injury.
I'll tell you what. I mean, yesterday, I was really frustrated. I had a bad day yesterday, and I have good days and bad days. I felt yesterday when I was walking to work, walking to the train, I could tell my leg was not going right. It just wasn't walking properly. I was walking with like quite a bit of more of a limp more than usual. Okay. I've had the limp the entire time, but it's gotten better over time. But yesterday it was like I could really feel my leg was not cooperating right. So, I went through the whole day at work, and it was, all right. I was still kind of like struggling a little bit. Getting home and then getting off the train and stuff like that, that's when my leg started to really hurt me. And then when I got inside the door here, for whatever reason, my leg was just like aching like it hadn't ached in like months. Like, and I was like, what the hell is going on to my leg? Like, and it just, when things like that happen, it sets you back mentally a lot, because it's like, what was all this progress that I was doing in the gym for weeks at a time? Like,
right. I'm literally just walking here.
Yeah. I'm just walking. Like, why does it feel like all of a sudden now, like it hurts to like bend, and it hurts to, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just going up and down stairs. I'm not going too fast or anything like that. And it's just
sure.
Like, that's been really the hardest part here in the last month here, is the mental part of it. Just like trying to balance the fact that like, I'm so hard on myself too, where it's like, I want to get better, but I also feel like I have this pressure to get back in the ring mentally. I'm putting on myself. I have this pressure that I'm putting on myself to do it in some sort of stated timeline, and I have to keep telling myself like there is literally no timeline on me to return. It's whenever I'm ready, and it's like I keep telling myself like, well, if it's in 6 months, you're awesome and you're a miracle and whatever. But if you do it in 12 months, like people are gonna be like, well, what's taking you so long? Like, why haven't you come back yet? Why haven't we heard anything about it? Those are kind of some of the mental things that I've been dealing with a lot in the last month. And I use, I am really happy that I can go back to the gym and like work on my leg. I'm not really doing a lot of like crazy stuff. I'm not doing like heavy squats. It took me a month to master body weight squats without having to lean on my left side. But now I can do a body weight squat and a body weight lunge with a decent amount of control, at least squats. Like lunges are still a bit of not perfect, but they're getting a lot better. And that's been a lot of like my workouts, like going in the treadmill, trying to see if I can at least jog a little bit. Cannot jog.
No.
Can't jog.
Not even a light jog, huh?
No.
Too much downward pressure probably on your.
Yeah, and it's because my leg is still. It's definitely come back a little bit. Like the strength is definitely there. It doesn't. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like over analyzing how big it is or like what the size of the muscles are. But I can definitely tell like that teardrop muscle, which is that like some people might know it as the VMO muscle. It's that muscle that's like right next to your kneecap. And it's really important for basically every function of like the quadricep muscle for standing, flexing the knee, exerting that force, kicking, jumping, everything. So because that VMO muscle is so atrophied right now, and I'm trying to strengthen it. It kind of, when I do like kind of flex it and stuff and like extend my leg, it just looks like there's like a part of my leg missing, to be honest.
Right.
So without that muscle being at full strength, like it's I can't like really run or do anything that's like really fully normal for an athlete to do right now. So
sure.
That's kind of where I've been at lately.
Yeah. And I can see how, those thoughts and things can creep into your mind because you got a lot of downtime. You getting somewhat slowly, really slow back into your, trying to get back into the gym, which in the gym means progress, right? And then, you got this hurry up mindset in your mind, which, every athlete would, every wrestler would, if they're wanting to get back into the ring. And then you got the doctor on the other side, and they've been through thousands, probably millions of these, and they know, and they're already plugging that in your head like it's going to be a long process. Don't try to do too much, too soon. And you're like, man, I'm just ready. Let's go. I want to see, progress, a little more. So I can see how that could be, tough, like on a mental state, especially, like you said, like something just as simple as just walking to work, and you're like, man, my leg's not even working just trying to walk here. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even doing anything like, out of the ordinary to it. So what about sleeping, man? Does it bother you at all while you're trying to sleep?
I mean, my sleep in general is always shit.
Is it? Okay.
But, yeah,
one of those.
I get to bed so late, and I've been trying my hardest to like get like a normal routine and schedule.
Sure.
But I go to the gym too, like super late, which probably isn't good either. But I think that's
less crowded.
Yeah, it is less crowded for sure. But I mean, like, I think along with like just going to the gym, but getting my regular fitness and nutrition like will help me along more. So I mean, like just drinking more water, eating right, sleeping right, which is recovering right. But that's honestly half the battle with muscle growth is like recovery. So
sure.
But in terms of like pain or anything like that, it's pretty good. I can sleep on both sides now without any issue. For a long time, my right leg felt like a brick. Like it just felt like a massive like log that I was like trying to pull over with me whenever I'd like turn in the bed or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't have that problem anymore. It still is a little bit, when I wake up every morning, it's stiff It takes a little bit to kind of get it moving, and I got to shake out the cobwebs in the knee and stuff like that a little bit. Right. But that's one part that luckily has gotten a lot better and stuff. So, yeah. And then like one thing that also like kind of assures me too is that I had other like medical questions that I had asked my doctors in my 6-week checkup when I went back to normal. They did another x-ray of my leg, this is back in like late March. And they said that the bone was healing great and stuff like that. They said I didn't need to go. They said I didn't need to go back for another checkup at 3 months or anything like that. They said, yeah, you're good. It's healing beautifully. And I was like, okay,
good.
That's
nice.
That's good at least. So I mean, like,
yeah, some positive news, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's kind of a balancing act too when I'm at the gym of like trying to figure out like what can I push through and like what's like I gotta dial back in. Like I did like I did that like sitting leg press machine for one time, like sure. Not the one where you're going up and down like that, but like kind of like
just kind of sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And didn't do a whole lot of weight on it, but like kind of screwed my leg up for like a day or so afterwards. So I was kind of like, okay, that's a little too much. Like I can't, I'm not at that step yet. It looks like, so that was like
sure.
3 or 4 weeks ago. But, things like that are like, it's a lot of learning lessons. A lot of doing like things I don't normally do at the gym, like, doing the stair climber or, doing the treadmill, and just trying to steadily get myself back up to speed here.
Sure.
I can definitely feel my conditioning is, it's gone.
Sure. I mean, yeah, right. Like,
I don't have, I'm not hitting the ropes like I was before. Like, cause I mean, for me, like, being in the ring and practicing every week with the guys at Freelance was like my cardio. Like, we'd go crazy and push ourselves and stuff like that. And we'd have, before he was on his, world tour, beating everybody, Mustafa Ali would, come in and help train us on Thursdays and stuff like that. And his, training is really intense. And,
right.
He'd push us like crazy and stuff like that. So, I definitely miss having that, especially that kind of component in my daily or my weekly, like, fitness routine and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I know I'll get back up to that speed at some point. It's just, kind of like working on myself a little bit mentally too, and trying to like take a step back and trying to, not be so hard on myself, but at the same time trying to keep myself consistent with
sure.
everything that I'm doing, whether it's, the nutrition, the sleep, being in the gym, at least 4 days a week and stuff like that, trying to work every other day on my leg and stuff like that. And, working on other body parts too while I'm doing it. So
sure.
Other than that, like life has been pretty, normal and stuff. Like I'm going back to work. I work, downtown. I work from home some days during the week. And the weather has been gorgeous for the most part, but so it is nice to kind of have like, the summer off, so to speak, but but it is like also at the same time hard because I see every day on Twitter or Instagram, like all my friends from Iron Spirit or from Freelance or from other promotions, they're all out every weekend. They're getting better. They're having matches. They're killing it. Like Gunnar Brave and Sean Logan when they faced the Bang Bros last month, like crazy match. That was really awesome to watch back. But things like that, like it's kind of a balancing act of being like, yeah, it's nice to have like the summer off, but at the same time, I'm like, kind of like itching to kind of like, pick up where I left off and,
sure,
catch up. So,
yeah, for sure. And it's been a little while, I mean, let's be honest, man, you're a wrestler. It's been a while since you've gotten to be the Irish Stallion, you know what I mean? And when you as a character, in wrestling, and you perform that guy a lot, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you breaks, and I'm not going to get to be him for like who knows how long, some say a year, is what they say, but you just never know, you know what I mean? So it's got to kind of, you got to miss kind of doing that because, it's the fun part about being a wrestler. You know what I mean? The bumps and stuff, those hurt a little bit, but, being the character, that's the fun and getting the reactions. But, I wanted to ask you though, so, we're just, like I said, 3 months, a little over past, does the incident seem like a blur now? Do you remember it vividly? Like, you've had a little time to think about it or not think about it. Just, looking back, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's a good question. There are some days I go without thinking about it too much. There's other days where like I think about it a lot actually. And I think, and sometimes too, I have to kind of like retrace the steps of like where I've gotten to, because sometimes I'll have days where I'm like, almost feeling too normal, where like as if I was never a wrestler at all, like where life is I'm so removed from everything in wrestling right now.
Right.
It almost
like you're going to work, you're coming home, you're like, you're like,
hanging out with my girlfriend and stuff, going to family parties on the weekend and not having to tell them I have to skip. It's one of those things where like that part is kind of hard too, because I have to, in the days where I feel like I'm kind of like losing touch with that part of myself, I have to kind of retrace my steps and be like, oh, I'm here because of this freak trauma that happened to me, in a freak moment in my life. And while that was just like that week in the hospital was the hardest week ever for me, it was just a week, and it was like, now it's like I'm okay. Like, I'll be okay is like this thing. Yeah. So I do think about it a lot. And I try to remember the pain a little bit too. I try to remember that feeling, and I try not to lose touch with those emotions I felt, because I felt a lot of different things in that week. I felt a lot of different things in that week, like anger, shame, regret, pride, and pride in like the sense of like pride in like my family and friends that were there and supported me, gratefulness for everyone that supported me, confusion,
it's the gamut.
I felt everything in that week. And then and then trying to like, it didn't end like when I left the hospital. It's kind of like I had to figure out, it's like I went to like, that was stage 1 of the video game, and like stage 2 was like getting back home. And now you've got to go through all these other challenges at home, like these different things you have to wrangle with and stuff. And you're kind of homebound, and for several weeks you can't really go anywhere. And if you do, you need to like be super careful. And so I definitely try not to lose touch with that night. And I don't think I ever will, because like I don't want to get too comfortable, because if I get too, and this is just me personally, if I get too comfortable, I'll get too complacent and too lazy. Like, and it's so easy for me like to stay home and be a hermit. I need things to push me and to drive me. That's why, for so many years, like I had freelance, and those guys and girls, like they pushed me, my trainers, they pushed me to do things I wasn't comfortable with, it's easy to, sit at home and be, do nothing and just watch sports and just pretend to be a normal guy and stuff. But, and a lot of people, some people in my family don't really understand why I'd want to go back to wrestling, and they don't want me to go back to wrestling, which I totally would understand. Anyone would. The danger level is still there. It's the exact same level it was when I left the ring that night. But the thing is that like, I'm very conscious of the world too at large. Like, we can get, and I think I might have like talked a little bit about this in the first podcast too. Like, we could get hit by a car tomorrow. We can, slip and fall down the stairs. Anything can happen to us in life.
Sure.
Life is too short for me to like, just, avoid trying at least, and what my career looks like after this is anyone's guess, but it's up to me to decide that, and it's up to me to like figure out what I can push and what I can't do anymore, and like what I need to adjust, because my style might change when I come back. I might have to do different things, or not that I was doing a lot of crazy shit when I was pre-injury or anything like
right.
that.
That's another good thing about wrestling, man, is you can come back and you can kind of change some things up a little bit, and until you feel a 100, you know what I mean? Like, you're not even thinking about it at all. Like, you're totally past everything, so the wrestling's kind of good for that. But it sounds like, you definitely have the right mindset. You're doing the things that you need to do. And I wanted to touch on something you said earlier too. Like I could totally see like how, you were speaking on like recovery time, you don't want to be too late, you don't want to be too early, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm taking too long. Why is this taking too long? Like, I could see how that, could kind of bother you, but I guess you kind of, like you said, you kind of got to use it as a motivator, to kind of keep you, to kind of keep you on track and, doing what you need to do. But, like I can relate, because I kind of think I have that little bit of same mindset too. It's like, I never wanted, if I didn't finish first, I didn't want to finish last, but, I didn't want to be somewhere in the middle either. You know what I mean? Like, it's, you know what I mean? So I could totally see how that comes into recovery. But so how often are you seeing the doctors now?
Well, that's the thing, is like I'm not really seeing the doctors at all.
Sure.
So I mean, like my PT kind of graduated me at the end of April. I saw him for about 6 weeks or so, and he was like, yeah, I think you're good enough to kind of go back in the gym now and start kind of like working on things slowly, like, like just doing, small ramp ups here and there and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I'll probably have a check-in with him, to be honest, here pretty shortly, I think. I'd like to go and talk to him again about a few questions, but
yeah, he say like, call me if you feel anything weird or anything like uncomfortable.
Yeah, for sure. And just to check in and stuff like that, because he's kind of he's a very personal guy and stuff like that. Very, very much like a family atmosphere in that office, for sure. So
good.
I think though, like my next step, hopefully at some point this year, I'd like to get some kind of a strength coach or something like that to kind of like build up my endurance and strength a little bit better when I come back, because I don't want to come back and just be the same. I want to truly be, better than I was before. So if that takes me longer, then so be it. But I definitely don't want to put myself in a position ever again to, have a freak thing like that happen again. And I don't think it will. But I mean, like, those are some of the things like on my mind and stuff like that when it goes to like, the doctors and stuff. But other than that too, like, and I know I talked about this earlier in the podcast, but like I had like a blood clot in the hospital and stuff like that in my leg. That's been cleared up as well, thankfully.
That's good. Yeah.
That didn't end up being more serious than it was, thankfully.
Yeah, good.
And I didn't need the pain pills either. So I pretty much stopped using them when I got out of the hospital and just kind of relied on Tylenol for the most part. To be honest, I probably could have used some of them for like maybe another week or so.
Sure.
But in the end, I was okay. In the end, I didn't really need to rely on them too much, because I was definitely like probably the most scared of them than anything else. I was more scared of the pills than I was.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, for sure. You hear so many horror stories. It's all right, man. You can tell your grandkids, I once broke my leg and never used any pain meds the whole time. Like, you can add to the story.
100%.
Oh man. Let me ask you kind of an oddball question, man. Has anybody that has broken their leg before in wrestling or any sport, did anybody reach out to you in that manner?
No, nobody. Okay. And it's weird too. I was about to bring this up too shortly. It's about Eddie Kingston and Edge just Adam Copeland
right? Yeah,
broke their legs.
Yeah, let's hear that. Yeah,
they broke their tibia and fibula respectively. They didn't break their femur, but still, I mean, like crazy that there were two major leg injuries like that back to back like that, and broken legs at that too. So
Right.
I was really surprised. I mean, I was really like, I love Adam Copeland. He's probably in my top 5 favorites ever since I was a kid. But I had to, I was pretty shocked when he attempted that the jump off the cage, double or nothing. I thought I would. I thought he was just going to do a splash or something like that. But when I seen he doubled guessed himself and he backed off the last second. I cringed so hard.
I know.
I was so. I couldn't believe it. I'm glad he's okay and he had surgery and stuff, but
right. Well,
I felt bad for him.
Yeah, right. I was just kind of wondering if anybody had reached out to you, but obviously, when Edge broke his leg, I thought of you. When Eddie broke his leg, I thought of you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just want to see that. But so let's talk about some other things other than the injury first. But but I wanted to talk about too that I listened to your podcast, Matt Nick's podcast. You were on my Violet podcast. I want to shout them out because I want to thank you for shouting my pod out on that too. So, but and I've always started listening to Matt now, and but I enjoyed you on that pod, man. You told some different stuff about the injury. So I want to encourage anybody out there that's listening. If it's always good to hear. Matt talks to Sean, about the injury, and Sean elaborates, stuff on it. So go check it out. It's called My Violet Podcast with Matt Nixon.
My Violent Tendencies.
My Violent Tendencies. There you go. My Violent Tendencies. Yeah, thank you, sir. Go check that out, man. And it's real good stuff there. And I'm always a fan of Matt Nix. So Purple Poppy there.
Love Purple.
But before we get to other things, man, I do want to say that. A quick question first. Are you itching to do anything in wrestling yet? Obviously nothing in the ring, but are you, maybe just wanting to get on site? Sometimes it feels good just to be in the venue.
Yeah, I did. The first chance I had to go back to a show, I went back to the April freelance show at Logan Square just to kind of like pop in and see everybody. Just to make let everyone know I was doing all right and stuff. I was using the cane at that point, so I was doing okay, but still only about 6 or so weeks removed, 7 weeks removed from the accident and stuff. So, but I haven't been back since. So I didn't go to any of the May shows anywhere. There's a show tomorrow in Logan Square that kind of flirting with going to, but we'll see if I have the time. But right now, I'm still kind of I don't know how it will make me feel. It's a little bit of trepidation, I think, on my part to kind of go because it's kind of a reminder, again, of kind of like some of what I was saying earlier, like seeing it up close and personal. Because like when I was there at the show in April, like it was a great show. And everybody put on such a great performance. There were some crazy performances on that show, and it kind of like I was inspired by it but I was also at the same time like very frustrated by it, and so that's kind of half the reason why I kind of don't want to go. I don't want to be in a bad mood. I kind of left not in a bad mood, but just kind of like a little bit deflated, a little bit maybe.
Right.
I was happy to see everybody, and I was really glad I could go and stuff. But it was nice not to have to help with tear down for once, but kind of a nice excuse to have. But didn't have to carry the boards or the posts or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, like I'll definitely pop in some shows this summer for sure.
Sure.
I won't go the whole summer. I know Iron Spirit has a show next month. But,
we do, man. We do. We're gearing up to our biggest show of the year, July the 20th, at the Station Saloon. So it's our WrestleMania, if you will, for the year. This year is going to be a little different because you're guaranteed to see a brand new Iron Spear Pro champion at this one because, since we've talked, Craig Mitchell, who is the current champion and third ever champion in Iron Spirit Pro, he's out with some injuries, and so he had to relinquish the title. But before I talk any more about that, man, I wanted to let you know that we definitely miss you there, brother, because we've had a couple shows back since the injury. Of course, the very next show, we all had to talk about it a little bit, because it was the first time we'd all kind of seen each other since, it happened. They're all in that group, but yeah, since then, especially at the last show, we talked about how it was kind of weird that you weren't on the card because you were kind of on all of them. And then what's really kind of sticking out of my mind this weekend is our baseball show. Yeah. Last year, you were in the main event of the baseball show.
I was thinking that too. I saw that Instagram post, and it made me think about that. And that's this kind of like the the weirdest part about the recovery is kind of going through all of these phases of it, where I'm like, damn, like I was on that show last year, and I was facing for the title last year at that show, and man, it's like it's been a year already and stuff like that, and so a lot. I've grown a lot in that year, but still so much to do, and it's like, it's tough to watch, but it's just I have to look at it in a positive perspective. Like it's an opportunity for me to get back there again and finish that story of like actually winning that title. But I mean, like,
yeah, man.
But yeah, that July show I definitely am eyeing for sure. So I mean, definitely think I might try to stop by that one for sure. If I'm gonna go to any show this summer, it would definitely be the WrestleMania of Iron Spirit Pro. I miss that, especially if we're gonna have a brand new champion.
Yep. We are. No spoilers yet. The match is dropping soon, though. But if you were at the last show, you might have probably kind of put it together, maybe. But
I do. Before you get to your next one, I do want to give one quick shout out to Craig, though, our former champion. Dude has been for as long as I've known him, one of the best dudes in wrestling. One of the best mentors in wrestling that I've had. He's always looked out for me and for the other guys on the indie circuit, not just freelance, but anywhere he goes. He's so, easy to talk to and stuff like that. He's a fantastic performer. One of my favorites right away when I first started watching indie wrestling and freelance, getting more exposure to the scene when I started training in 2018. Yeah. And he's so tough on himself, and everyone tells him that he's so talented and he's like such a special performer.
He really is, man.
Dude, I mean, like, I wish him the absolute best, and I wouldn't have made it through that night without him.
Right?
He was checking up on me constantly, in the weeks after. So I mean, like, so all my love and prayers to Craig and stuff like that. I know he's going to come back, again, and he's going to, wreck shit. He's going to be awesome. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. And, and he's so humble about everything. And, I hate to see him, get hurt, but hopefully he takes some time off, and come back strong. But definitely just want to let you know, man, we definitely do miss you there, brother. We're always talking about you. And so just know that you're missed, and we're just counting down the days till you get back there. So, but let's talk about a few other things, man. But last thing on wrestling, though, man, you're getting to watch a lot of wrestling now, I'm assuming. You watching WWE, TNA, or AEW, I'm guessing for sure.
Yeah.
Like, what are you liking? What are you digging?
Dude, I mean, that's been the other kind of nice thing about being off is, like, I have been able to watch a lot more wrestling, especially, those first couple weeks were, like, really crucial because, like, my mom, she doesn't have like a lot of other channels on her TV, but she luckily has the most basic cable package,
right? Yeah,
like TNT, TBS, and USA, and like Fox. So like I could watch all the main stuff, and as someone who really was inspired by like the All In pay-per-view to like become a wrestler. In that summer of like, Cody and the Bucks, leading up to All In, just getting all this buzz and excitement. And like, a lot of those things were like big catalysts for me to really make that final step to make the jump
to
being a wrestler and stuff like that. So, and to see like where AEW's been since that moment to 5 years later, they've, on the precipice of like signing a new, TV deal and stuff like that, and hopefully it's lucrative for them and lucrative for other wrestlers that, get more jobs and get better and stuff, which should be the goal of everybody, no matter what you're a fan of.
No doubt.
And, all the intricacies and booking criticisms aside, I really liked watching all the matches. I watched Double or Nothing. I watched the Dynasty pay-per-view. I watched the that Ospreay Danielson match was just unbelievable, just unreal.
Yeah, it was.
So Ospreay's having himself an MVP here, in my opinion. But
he is.
Yeah, and then if this is really the last year of, I kind of hope this really is the last year of Bryan Danielson's career, just because I think he may be my favorite wrestler of all time. And I just don't want to see him hurt anymore.
Right.
I don't want to see him injured anymore. I want to see him like go out on top, and have. He's been having 5-star match after 5-star match like everywhere he's gone this year, and it's like he's if he's going to end it, he's going to end it on a all-time run.
Yeah. He's not taking it easy either with that type of injury, man. He's doing some questionable stuff. I'm like, no, why?
Dude.
Yeah. But yeah.
And then on the WWE end, like it's just been fun to watch WWE again and not be bored with it and not be so like turned off by it, and it's not a perfect product by any means, but I mean, like I love watching Cody Rhodes, like just take us into this brand new era and stuff like that. He's been a great champion so far. I've really enjoyed the stuff that he has. Like it's awesome to see these crowds be so hyped for everything on the card.
He's a big babyface champion, man. It's like it's a good thing,
dude. It really is. I mean, a good babyface is hard to. A really good babyface is hard to come by, and he's so genuine and he's so, real to the fans and stuff like that. He's such a smart guy too. I mean, like really, like I was shocked when I didn't think he'd end up being this popular when he left AEW 2.5 years ago, but he was right. He was like dead ass right. So, he called his shot and he hit a homer. So I mean, like, he's the quarterback now in his words.
Right. Yeah.
Been loving all of it. So it's been a lot of fun, and then hopefully, when I get a little bit more, maybe mentally settled, I'll be able to start watching a little bit more indie wrestling and stuff like that and start going back to more shows and hang out with everybody.
Yeah. All right, man, before we go home, man, let's talk a little sports outside of wrestling, dude. How's the DraftKings account looking first?
Oh God. It's been,
dude, I haven't been well either.
It's been rough since March Madness, to be honest. I've been betting more like the NHL playoffs than NBA playoffs. Playoffs, like this is why I don't bet basketball. I can't nail anything in basketball. I mean, like I came close the other night with like a big parlay and stuff that would have paid out like 30 times what I had bet in, but I mean, like I missed it by like Anthony Edwards. Like I had him at like 30 plus points and he finished with 28 in that game 5. So that was brutal. Baseball, I kind of haven't really gotten into betting baseball too much this year. Even though, White Sox are putrid, I'm not really watching the White Sox too much. I just saw them lose in most embarrassing, funny fashion last night. God, that was a new one. But yeah, I mean, like I'm kind of just like, plotting, scheming for football season.
Sure. Yeah.
I just saw they released the schedule for the CFP playoffs, like the revised one with the 12-team format. That should be cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for that. I'm excited. I'm kind of thinking to myself too that I might like splurge on a PS5 or something like that this year because I really want to play College Football 24.
Man,
I want to play that game.
I know, man. It's coming out soon. Yeah, I think the pre-order is like already out for it. So, I've still kept my Xbox, and when I seen they announced that game, I was like, oh yeah, don't knock the dust off that thing, man. Gonna have to play some more. But All right, man. Let's talk about our football teams. So, mine being the Atlanta Falcons, yours being the Chicago Bears. Let's talk about the bad first. Let's talk about Atlanta. All
I
right,
need to know
so
what was your like. Just I didn't know who they were going to go with. I thought they were going to go with like Miles Turner.
oh yeah. I thought they'd go with defensive
Or
end. Sitting right
Byron
there.
Murphy. One
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
two.
yeah. Anywhere around there. If Odunze, I heard Odunze like earlier that day. I was even okay with that. I mean, the Bears ended up getting him, but I was even okay with that. So so the Falcons come around and if they pick Michael Penix Jr. After we just basically gave Kirk Cousins everything but rights to the dome,
Right.
for in this big contract, and I'm thinking, okay, nice, we could just got this big, big signing quarterback, call it whatever you want, but we're all right, we're all in, man. We're making some moves here. We got a couple nice picks in this draft. We're going to get some defense because defense always is needed. We were next to last in sacks last year, I think.
Yeah.
So defensive end just made too much sense, didn't it? So and they ended up addressing it, I think, later in the draft or something. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I just and then and then I come to like, okay, well, this seems like a really crazy pick, and then you go, oh, then you read, oh, well, this is for insurance. This is so, so Michael can sit behind Kurt for a couple years, and then when Kurt's done, or then Michael will be sitting there ready. So they basically called him insurance, is what I listened on so many like Atlanta sports talk radios, and all this stuff like that I listened to, and was just like, explain to me why, and then so, and then I'm thinking, at first I'm like, okay, trade bait. Somebody wanted him, and we're just going to take him, and then we're going to load up on like second, third, fourth, or something like that. I'm like, okay, that I'd probably been all right with that if it had meant more second rounders or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But so we're going to keep him. So I mean, obviously, I'm disgusted. I'm still befuddled by it. But I mean, I'll be honest, Sean. My franchise has never seen a Super Bowl win. We've been in two, lost them both, and I've been watching this team since 1981, since I knew who the Falcons were. When me and my dad went to a game in the old Fulton County Stadium, and so I've been like a fan ever since. And like, I just feel like I always end up like empathizing with them. Oh well, they're the Atlanta Falcons. It's just another dumb move we made. We've got a few right. We've got a lot of them wrong. But I mean, and like, and another thing too is like, we're like, here we go again. Here's something else for everybody in the world to laugh at us about. You know what I mean? Like, now the only way this pays off, Sean, is if this motherfucker comes as like the next like greatest thing in quarterback, or not even that. If he just wins us the Super Bowl, then it's worth it.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? But, that's the only way this pays off, right? Like, I mean, now if he ends up getting a starting job later on and is our quarterback for 10 plus years and 8 plus years, and and we go to the playoffs every year, I wouldn't be mad at that either. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Right. But it's like, and what ruined me too is like I think I knew too much about this kid coming in, like all the injuries and all the stuff that he went through, and
he's had some crazy injuries, and he was hobbled as heck in that national championship game. He was getting lit up by Michigan.
Right. Yeah, man. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. But I just felt like, this big, long we'll see chance pick, and there was so much guaranteed on the board, like automatic sacks, I felt like was just there, man. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not a GM, but I mean, but I don't know, man. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was bad. I mean, you I think you texted me like shortly after the pick, like, what is this? Like, I don't know either, dude.
I remember texting you that night. It was like for our first round that was like advertised as being like, I thought it was going to be insane. I thought there was going to be multiple trade ups. trading backs. I thought there was gonna be people jumping in and stuff. It was such a quiet first round and everything. The only thing that was like weird about the first round, besides that, was that like I think like 12 offensive players went first, or 15 before Leatu Latu went to the Seahawks or whatever.
Yeah,
and really like a paint by numbers first round in a lot of ways. But I was like, I couldn't believe the luck the Bears had. I could not believe the luck the Bears had that we got not only Caleb, with, that virtual guaranteed number 1 pick that Carolina gave us. And then to have Rome Odunze fall to us at 9 when he could have gone at 7, he could have gone at 8, but then Tennessee didn't take me. They took a lineman.
Yeah.
I was just flabbergasted that it have happened to us. So
yeah, 2 big plug-ins right now for the Bears for sure.
Massive.
And Odunze was Penix Jr.'s number one wide receiver at Washington. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, and the fact that I was getting nervous when, like, they posted that picture of Rome and Caleb, like, on the plane, like, look who I ran into and stuff. And they were like, I was like, oh my God, now I know it's not going to happen because, like, it's just like karma and, things that never working out and stuff like that. But it's like the one time all the stars aligned, they aligned. And afterwards, the GM of the Bears, Ryan Poles, had even said, like, I was like this close to pulling the trigger on like jumping up to 7, after like Malik Neighbors went at 5 or 6, I forget which number, but
the Giants,
and and then he got pulled back by his assistant GM Ian Cunningham. He got pulled back and said, like, just be patient, and like it worked out. So,
it worked out, yeah. 2 big plugs.
And then the Bears got like the best punter in the draft too, which they badly needed. I know they picked him up late in the 4th round, which a lot of people were like, well, that's too high for a punter. It's like, if he's the best punter in the whole draft,
and that's one of your big needs.
Exactly. We had literally the worst punter in football last year. We're dead last in like average yards per punt, dead last in like punts inside the 10. Our field position, like our special teams in general last year was pretty bad outside of Kairos Santos, the field goal kicker, being pretty good. But so I was really quite pleased with this draft in many, many years. So the vibe in Chicago, as I'm sure you've seen, is just so everyone's excited, everyone's hyped up for the Bears this year.
Yeah, and
I still think you should be hyped up for the Falcons too. I think.
I am.
I think they're going to be pretty good this year. I think they'll be like 9-8, 10.
Yeah, I still think we'll. We I would say probably should win the division. I'll say that. And plug us into. A really good NFC playoff team is going to come to Atlanta, and hopefully we can beat them. You know what I mean? Like that's how the way it's been working. But yeah, no, I'm still excited. Like I'm always going to be excited. I like when they make moves. Kurt's the big question. Kirk Cousins with, we don't even know how he's going to even do with Achilles. The Achilles injury. So a lot of questions. But also. We haven't talked about this yet. What were your thoughts on the Bears being announced as being on Hard Knocks this year?
Oh, I'm locked in.
You like it? Yeah?
Locked in. Bro, I can't wait for that.
That's dope, man. Yeah.
Everyone was kind of like, there's so many people that were saying like, that they didn't want it as like, as a distraction or whatever. It's like, I don't think it is. I mean, like, I think it's just like, sometimes like, I think last year with the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, it became kind of a pony show. I don't think it'll be like that this year because I think the Bears kind of know what they have going on. I think they know what the expectations are going in. Last year for the Jets, it was like, they were like on a Super Bowl or bust kind of path. And like then things blew up on them in the 4th play of the year. So with the Bears, it feels more like this is really truly like a team bubbling on the edge of like, being a really breakthrough team this year. So like the Lions were last year. So I'm excited for Hard Knocks. I'm excited to see, I'm a big Caleb Williams supporter. I don't really care that his personality is a little different or whatever.
Sure.
I think it's good.
I won't care about his stuff either.
I know. I mean, like people make such a big deal about painted fingernails and stuff, and a lot of stuff he does
Yeah,
like that
I don't care.
just to get a rise out of people. Like he's doing it just to make people that are upset about stupid stuff like that. But so I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see the only thing going into the season I want to I'm kind of it's the biggest question mark is the head coach Matt Eberflus. Everything else on the roster outside of defensive end in the D line has been really upgraded. And I just want to know if Matt Eberflus is going to really step up this year and step up his game. He kind of turned things around a little bit defensively last year in the last 6 games of the year. Bears had a massive turnover ratio towards the end of the year. In part because of changes he made on defense, but is he going to be able with a new DC now and new offensive coordinator? Is he really going to be able to be this CEO type style head coach where he can kind of delegate and just kind of make, better in-game management decisions and stuff like that. And so that'd be for me. That's the biggest question mark is Eberflus, but he's got a sexy new haircut and stuff like that. I think he will be good. So
right, yeah. There's gonna be a lot of eyes on him this year because Caleb he's coming with a lot of hype. He's coming with a lot of. I feel like he's one of the more polished quarterbacks coming already into the league. He probably could have played 2 years ago. You know what I mean? This is the way I kind of feel about his pedigree and he's already got media training. You know what I mean? So I think I'm not worried about him there. You know what I mean? So, it's going to be a lot of eyes on him. I think he's going to handle it well, and I feel like, I like players that, he kind of carries this aura where he don't need anybody's approval kind of I feel like he knows he's going to be good and he's just hang on. I feel like he's got this kind of I told my buddy this too, he's a big Bears fan. I feel like he's got this. Just hang on. Just give me a little time. I'm gonna show you. He's got a quiet confidence. Even just just the way he carries himself, and then also just watching him throw. It just looks natural. Kid was born with a football in his hand. You know what I mean? So I'm not everybody in my wife's side's family is the Bears fan, so I pseudo pull for them whenever they're not playing Atlanta, obviously, but I'm excited to be in Illinois while this kid's I like it when a kid's got a lot of hype coming in. It's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, things might be the next couple of years might be very exciting in the city, in the state.
Yeah, it could be. And you got a big, you had what you had already. Now you got a big threat that was just in the national championship game and wide receiver. So. Yeah, a lot of stuff to be excited about, man. So that's cool. I love this time of year, but I always feel like when I get June, July, I'm already thinking about football. Man. I know. We're just a couple months away, man. Can't help it. But yeah, so it's gonna be exciting, man. So are you a season ticket holder? The family got any season tickets, that kind of stuff?
We just checked. Me, my brother, and my other friend, Joe, we're in line for season tickets. We're I think we just checked the other day. We're 4,900 something in line.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're a ways away from getting those season tickets, but maybe one day.
Yeah, it might change if the new stadium comes along. They do something like that. Maybe they put more seats in there and they can, move you up the line. But
that'd be nice.
Wow, that's nice. I was never a Falcons season ticket holder because when I lived in North Carolina, it took me about 3 hours to get from my door to the old Georgia Dome or Atlanta Fulton County. And so, but I don't even know if they still do them, but I would buy half season packs, where you'd go to 3 or 4 home games a year. I would usually buy a 4-pack, go to the 3 games that I wanted to, and then sell the 4th one, which would usually be against whoever the best team was that was coming to Atlanta that year, and that would help pay for my other 3 games. You know what I mean? So, I would always do good if the Cowboys were coming to town. I'd buy that one and then sell it for double. But
that's awesome.
But yeah. So I'm excited, ready for football. But so any plans this summer, man? I know you're kind of at home a little more now, so you're gonna do some family stuff, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like hanging out with my girlfriend, and then doing different things with her, and not going on any trips or anything like that. Last summer, I went to visit Ireland, which is a place where my dad's from.
Yeah.
So I went with my dad and my brother. The three of us went to go visit my family in Ireland and stuff. We were there for 2 weeks and hadn't been in Ireland in 11 years. And my dad is the second youngest of 11 kids, and I've got 40 first cousins.
Wow.
In Ireland, yeah.
Nice.
Not every single one is in Ireland, but like I'd say about a lot of them are all across the globe, to be honest.
Sure.
But, 40 within the family, and then there's so many second cousins.
Yeah.
So, I hadn't seen them in 11 years, and I was just a teenager last time I went, and then this is my first time kind of going and being able to drink there. So that was
nice. Yeah.
Oh my God, they drank me under the table quite a few times. My cousins. And
you Irish, man, y'all drink and fight, man. That's all y'all do, right? Like, it's like your main two things like you're good at.
Fight, drink, and sing and dance.
That's great.
And no, it was amazing. It was one of those things where like me and my brother went there, and it was like they acted like we had been there our whole lives.
Oh yeah, sure. Like it's great.
So that was an amazing trip. But nothing really planned for this year. Just probably focusing on recovery. It'll be just going to work, coming home, going to the gym, sleeping. It's gonna be kind of like a boring life for a little bit, and that's kind of the other thing where I love pro wrestling so much, and I don't want to ever lose touch with pro wrestling. And this is what I've wanted to do my whole life too.
Yeah.
I kind of getting back to that to finish up our combo with like this point. It's just like I can't stop loving pro wrestling, and I don't think I ever will. Like my mom thought it would be a phase I grow out of, and it never was. So
right.
There's something special about pro wrestling that's different than every other kind of sport out there, really.
Yeah. And I tell everybody this, man. I'll say this. I go, man, like once you're into it, it's like a magic that it's hard to describe, but it's just magical, man. Like like it just is.
And when it's good, like that Ospreay Danielson match, it's like top tier. Like nothing can touch it. I mean, like
right.
Only the best type of like football game, or the very, very best type of like postseason World Series baseball type of game or whatever. It's like that's peak stuff, and we get that all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe not that type of match, but like we get those kind of moments like pretty regularly. I'd feel like where those. Or even still on the indies, like, we still feel those moments sometimes where you're lost in it and, you forget for a minute, what you're watching and stuff like that. And
you're hanging on every fall. Like
you're hanging on every fall.
Yeah, man. It's just, it's a magical blessing, man. It is. Mm-hmm. So, but dude, I want to thank you for giving us an update on everything. It looks like you're doing well. Glad to see it. Glad to hear it. We're going to check back in with you in about 3 months, sometime around the month of September, and see how the recovery and everything is going. But I want to thank you again for your knowledge and wanting to share your story about your injury and recovery and if nothing else, just for, knowledge of friends, promoters, and, wrestlers and, anybody else like that out there in the business. But I want to thank you, man. I want to thank everybody listening, everybody watching right now on YouTube. Go to @SitDownMarks on YouTube. Give us a follow. I want to thank everybody listening on Audible, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everybody listening on SportzWire online radio, sportswireradio.org. Check us out every week, every Friday, and usually throughout the week. So I want to thank everybody listening there. And Sean, before we go home, man, this is the question I'm going to ask you every time we get done here, man, and let you take us home on this. So what are the odds of the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway, returning to the ring?
I'd say I'm a pretty heavy favorite at this point. I'd say at least it's juiced. It's minus 1,000. Minus 10,000, I think.
Okay. I love it. Those are definite odds.
Yeah.
Bet on the Stallion. You You won't go wrong, right?
No, absolutely not.
All right. For the Irish Stallion, Sean Galway, I am the Dirty Bird DB. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out today. We'll be back here in just a couple of weeks. We're going to be covering WWE Clash at the Castle and talk about other things going on AEW as well. Appreciate everybody. Sean, thank you, brother. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you later.